Going on, guys? It's Tom. I'm back with another video. Hey, this one I wanted to talk about just the medical here. I did. I know I've done stuff on this subject, um, and I recently just did one about dental possibility of dental tourism. Uh, in the Philippines. Medical, however, you know what? I mean, I would not come here specifically for medical tourism. Okay, just my opinion. If you're coming here anyway, and maybe you've got something that's kind of minor, you know what I mean, or somewhat minor, like I don't know, maybe a colonoscopy or something that like doesn't really involve surgery, right? Ultrasounds, MRIs, X-rays. If you're going to be having some kind of medical experience here, or you need to get something done and it involves those things, or I guess CT scans, right? And I'll include that, another form of X-ray, basically. Yeah, then possibly, especially if you're coming here anyway, if you're already coming here, right? And then you're like, hey, I need to get this done, and either I don't know, maybe you don't have insurance in the U.S., you know, right? You're not old enough for Medicare, you just don't have insurance, or the deductible is so high, you got like a $5,000 deductible or something, or more, then it might make sense, to get certain things done here like that, the things I just mentioned, because they're pretty, it's pretty cheap. You know what I mean? You're talking like all those testings, ultrasounds and stuff like that. They're usually like 3 to 4,000 peso. Like $70 or whatever. Uh, believe me, it's pretty reasonable. It's very reasonable compared to the U.S. without insurance. But I'll tell you something. If it comes to surgery, I don't know. I mean, there's good surgeons here. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't come here for that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just personally wouldn't. Um, Matter of fact, I'm always telling Amy, man, if I ever got to have something done, like anything that involves surgery, right? I'm probably gonna go to Thailand. You could probably go to Vietnam too, for pretty good, very good medical for cheap. And when I say cheap, I mean comparable or maybe even cheaper than the Philippines. Okay, and same thing with Thailand. You know, it's just the whole systems in those, like in Thailand. I mean, I've seen countless videos about guys getting things done, and it's just like a smooth, oiled machine, man. You know what I mean? Like there's no waiting for 2 hours to see the doctor. You could you schedule something at a certain time, and that's when it starts. And I mean it's just smooth. It's a lot more like the U.S. than you know than anywhere else. You know what I mean? Um, so the experience, right? And just the overall sort of competency level, I think, is pretty high too. Especially in Thailand. Um, so that's probably what that's what I would recommend. I mean, like I said, you could do your own research, and maybe even Malaysia might be an option, right? But I know for a fact that Thailand and Vietnam have good medical and are very affordable. You know, here it's just like when it comes to getting something done, like an actual procedure, like whether it's an ultrasound or an MRI or an endoscopy or whatever. I imagine a colonoscopy, although I haven't had that done here. But you know, uh, if you have something like that scheduled, then yeah, you're not going to be waiting forever. It might start 30 minutes late or something, but it's not going to be bad. You know, but it's getting to that point, right? Like in other words, seeing the doctor here in the Philippines, and I'm in a good area. I got pretty good hospitals here. It's not St. Luke's, but it's pretty good. But it's just like, you know, and then they're there like 3 days a week, like in the morning only or whatever, right? Or maybe you got your doctor's there on opposite days and in the afternoon. But whatever it is, it's just going to be, they're going to be, they work 6 days a week at least, and they usually work at 2 or 3 or 4 different hospitals. So they're in the morning for 3 hours, 3 days a week at this hospital, okay? And then they go to another hospital on those days in the afternoon. And then on the other days, they go to another, so they're literally working like a lot of times 3 or 4 different hospitals. And they work all day. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's just because when you see them, they're only there for, like they're working 9 hours that week at your hospital, but they're going to other hospitals, believe me. Plus, they might have surgeries that they do, or they have surgeries that they have to attend, because maybe they're the primary care physician for somebody who's having surgery. And a lot of times the way they do it here is they have to be there. They kind of like just as a witness or supervisor, whatever. So they're busy, they see a lot of patients. That's why it is the way it is here, man. People just fall in line, wait, and it's not unusual at all to wait 2 hours just for an appointment, a regular doctor appointment. Like when you're at the beginning of your process, like something's wrong with me, and you're trying to figure out what the hell it is. That's the time when you don't want to wait 2 hours, do you? Sitting on a hard chair. But that's when you will wait 2 hours or whatever. Not all the time, but a lot of times. You're gonna wait at least 1 hour, and sometimes, the doctors don't even show up. Like you think they're going to be there from 9 to 12, and the guy shows up at 10:30. Or maybe whatever 10 to 1 or something, and then maybe shows up at 11:30. It's not unusual. And the best doctor I had he was only about a half an hour late. You know what I mean? Like he was sort of a primary care physician type of a guy, internal medicine. And he was literally, a lot of times he was either on time or he was maybe 30 minutes late. But there are other guys, especially the specialists, where, they come late. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they came from a surgery. But it's like, okay, well, maybe you could have communicated that with your secretary, and all these people that are sitting here waiting for you for an hour and a half and you're not even here yet, maybe they would know, hey, he's not coming in until 10:30. You know what I mean? Instead of 9. But they don't do that here. And then it's like, so it's like, you show up, you go all the way over there, and sometimes they're not there. Like, oh, the guy's not here today, or he's on vacation, or now, yeah, you could call the front desk and maybe ask and find out before you go there, but that's not always phones here, landlines and all that in the Philippines, they're not as smooth as they are in the US. Sometimes that phone will just ring and ring and ring and nobody answers it. So it's not sort of an effective way, it's kind of a hit and miss way of communication here, like calling a landline of a entity, whether it's a hospital or a government entity or whatever. So anyway, it's just sort of like the process can be really taxing, you know what I mean? Especially if you're from a Western country and maybe you're not used to waiting more than like 30 minutes past your appointment time or whatever. Yeah, it's, but like I said, yeah, there's good surgeons here, but, and there's other issues too. Like there's not always set prices, and they see that you're a Westerner, and then a lot of times the prices will jack up. It's not always prices from the doctor's fees, but the hospital fees will jack up, and then there's other third-party vendor fees or whatever. You'll get hit, you know what I mean? Like, it's just sort of, I don't know. Like if you really wanted to find out what your issue is, if you got some kind of problem, I don't know. Like I would almost say you might be better off just taking a flight to Thailand or something. Even if you're already here, especially if you think you're going to need surgery or something like that. you know. Um, yeah, because it can just be pretty, I don't know, kind of a pain here, man. It's just the way the system is, I guess, you know. And people just, they don't complain, you know. That's part of the problem because then it just persists. You know what I mean? Like people just fall in line and wait, 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 you know. You know what I mean? Sometimes people will be sitting waiting and then there's a sign on the door saying that the doctor's not in, but nobody looked at it. They're so used to just sitting and waiting, you know what I mean? It's like a reflex, you know, like just okay, here we go, you know. And then you know, and pull out the phone, start playing on the phone while they're waiting or whatever, and nobody notices that hey, there's a sign here, the doctor's not coming in today, or he's going to be late, you know what I mean, or something, you know. But um, yeah, it's it's unfortunately such a common thing here, you know, to wait for things, you know, that people just are so used to it. It's so ingrained, you know. So anyway, guys, if you got any comments, please send them to me. I'd like to read them. Um, and yeah, I appreciate if you do like, comment, share, subscribe if you're not already doing so. And oh, and hit the bell notification too if you want to see when I have another video coming out, you know, and stuff like that. Um, I'm gonna try and crank out some more videos than I've been doing lately. I'm gonna try and go back to what I was doing. You know, I was doing about 3 a week before, but you know, I've been kind of slow the last couple 3 months. Uh, you know, life happens sometimes, and then it slows you down. You know, but I'm gonna try and get back on the horse here, and you know, see if I can crank out some videos for you guys. All right, man. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.